Hi my beautiful bookish friends, I'm Bowen and welcome to my channel. This is going to be a very long overdue book haul. Have I pulled the books off the shelves yet for this? No, so we are going to go and find all the books together, hence why I am so far away from the camera. Hi over there. But there's so many of my books on my shelves at the minute that they are double stacked. And first of all, I hate the double stack. I hate it, I think it's hideous. I can't see the books behind there and I'm not loving it. And there's so many of my books on my shelves that I've either read and I didn't love, or, and this one is hard for me, I'm gonna start unhauling books that I've not read. I hate unhauling books that I've not read, but there's so many of my young adult fantasy specifically that I've had for over 5 years and I have no intention of getting to them. I have no draw to them anymore. I'm honestly just reading them at this point because I have them. When there's so many more books that either I've bought recently or I'm just simply more interested in than the ones that are currently on my shelves. So we're going to go through and I'm going to pull off all of the books that I just don't need to keep on my shelves anymore. So I think the best place to start is probably over here, but I am going to need to grab my glasses. Let's have a look. What don't I want anymore? Okay, starting at the top, we're going to get rid of Fire with Fire by Destiny Soraya. This is a gorgeous Fairy Loot edition, which is where the majority of my young adult fantasy comes from. This has cool, I'm going to say dragon art print. Yep, dragons. And the naked book is really pretty as well. But have I once even thought about this book since I received it? No, so that one's gone. There's the Eye of Fae series, which I'm kind of on the fence about, but because I have the first series and then the Even Fall, which is the companion series, all in special editions, which is 7 whole books, that's one I want to keep and still give it a shot. Because I've got so many in that series, I don't want to unhaul it without at least trying the first book first. So I'm going to keep that for now. This is kind of my sci-fi shelf. So the Jake Kristoff, Amy Kaufman ones I'm going to keep. The Brandon Sanderson I'm also going to keep. Sorry, Stabby Pikachu, you can sit over there. But the DC Icons ones, I've got Wonder Woman, Catwoman, and Batman. I'm not ever really drawn to these either. I don't even really watch the DC movies. So the idea of picking up an entire book based on the DC characters doesn't really appeal to me, with the obvious exception of the Teen Titans series, because that is an exception. It's a graphic novel and it's awesome. But this, I'm never going to read this. Now, in theory, this next one is my favourite shelf. However, the Atlas 6 isn't necessarily one of my favourites, but I do have a couple of tabs in this. And when I say a couple, I mean in this entire book there's 7 tabs. But I have recently read the Atlas Paradox, and I don't care for it. But I don't really want to get rid of the Atlas 6 because 1, it's pretty, and 2, I still think I would reread the first one. I wouldn't reread the second. If I'm going to continue picking up this series, I think I'm just going to get it on audio, because I have the audiobooks for these 2 anyway. But I think I'm going to keep the Atlas 6 and ditch the Atlas Paradox. But all the rest of the books on this shelf are sticking around. I'm going to keep all the rest of them because I love them all. And I think the next shelf down is going to be a lot of them are going to go. Here we have the Graceling series. So I read Graceling a few years ago, I think. Either last year or the year before, I don't remember. But honestly, it's not bad, but I was genuinely falling asleep while reading it. And that's kind of put me off from wanting to continue the series. Now, oh my god, this is heavy. Now, don't get me wrong, these editions are really, really pretty. But I'm never going to read this. So that can go as well. Then we have the Folk of the Air series. Now, I really love the Folk of the Air series. I really do. And especially these editions, again, from Fairy Loot, absolutely stunning. I didn't really rate the Queen of Nothing because I love Jude's character, but the reveal that happens somewhere around the middle of this book, I guessed it on page 2, and I'm there okay, you're smarter than me. How are you not picking this up? So that kind of pissed me off. But overall, this series was really, really fun. And I do love how the King of Elfheim learned to hate stories. However, I read this one earlier this year, and I did not give a single fuck. So am I gonna pick up the next book in the series? No, probably not. Then I've got the Elizabeth Lim Spin the Dawn duology. Again, Fairy Loot editions. Really pretty covers, but I just don't think that I'm ever going to pick this up. Read this series at the start of the year, the Raybearer series by Johnny Fueco. It was fine. This is just the YA fantasy shelf. YA fantasy shelf. Why is that hard to say? This is just the YA fantasy shelf more than anything, and the majority of the books that are YA fantasy is what I'm not drawn to anymore. And again, the Defy the Night series by Bridget Kemmerer. It's cute. I can't express how much I don't care anymore. I have this beautiful edition of Witches Steeped in Gold by Sienna Smart. Now, I love this edition, and I also love that the Naked book also has like the gold foiling on it and everything. I'm never gonna actually read it. And I only have book 1 in this pretty edition. I don't have book 2. And even then, let's be honest, I'm still not gonna read it. So out it goes. Let's continue on with the series duologies kind of thing. We've got These Violent Delights and Our Violent End by Chloe Gong. I've not once been drawn to it in all the time it's been on my shelves. So I'm gonna pop it in the unhaul pile. Then we have Daughter of the Moon Goddess and Heart of the Sun Warrior by Su Lin Tan. These editions are absolutely fucking stunning. But I read them earlier this year, and I cannot express how much I didn't fucking care. So, unfortunately, them being pretty is not enough to keep them around. So, these ones are going to be unhauled as well. Then we have Star Daughter by Shiva Thakra and Blood Scion by Deborah Fale. I am not sure if I pronounced either of those names correctly, but I just have never been drawn to pick them up, so I'm probably just going to unhaul them because they're taking up room on my shelves and I already don't have enough, so that can go as well. I have The Astonishing Colour of After, and I've heard really good things about this one, but I heard really good things about this like years ago. And I've not really heard anyone talk about it recently, but I think it's because it came out in like 2015 and everyone's either already read it or kind of missed the era of it. I've almost picked this up quite a few times, so I could technically be convinced to keep this one, but I've never actually got round to it, and I've had it for like a good long while now, so I'm just going to pop it in the unhaul pile. Then I've got Fawkes by Nadine Brandes. This one is a Guy Fawkes retelling, and I've been meaning to read this one on the 5th of November for the past like 4 years. And I've had time on a 5th of November at some point in the last 4 years, and I still haven't picked it up. It's been on like my mental November TBR for as long as I've had it, and I'm still not getting to it. So I don't think I will. This whole section is honestly just going to be mostly Fairy Loot books. So I've got 8 Will Fall by Sarah Harden. I've never once thought about this book. To be fair, I also kind of forgot I had it. So that's a no. Then I've got River of Royal Blood by Amanda Joy. The main thing with this that really bothered me is it's a duology and they changed the cover design in the middle of the duology. So I'm never going to get the second book to this, which has kind of put me off reading the first one. And then we've got This Golden Flame by Emily Victoria. I have no thoughts, I know nothing about it, and I've never once been drawn to it, so I don't care enough to keep it. Now we're on to the bottom shelf, and oh my god, my knees. Oh, I'm old. But then we've got The Dragon's Promise and Six Crimson Cranes, which are apparently very wedged. And I've read this series, and I liked book 1, but I don't think I liked it enough to keep it on my shelves. I don't know whether it's the sun damage or what, but the sprayed edges seem to fade really quickly, especially on the first one. The colour on the bottom compared to the colour on the top is just not the same. So if anyone has any advice on how to keep the sprayed edges looking fresh and crisp, please let me know in the comments. The Forest of Souls and the Broken Web, which feels very spidery, I'm going to unhaul because, again, I don't think about them, ever. Any book that I don't think about and have zero thoughts in my brain, it's out the door. This bottom shelf here, it's going to be, I'm not going to lie, the majority of the shelf. So, we've got Arrow to the Moon, also by Emily X. Arpan, which, again, not thought about once. Beasts of Prey, no, that can bugger off as well. Then we have The Strange and Beautiful Sorrows of Ava Lavender, which kind of falls under the same category as The Astonishing Colour of After, where I heard loads of things and how it was beautifully lyrical and all of that stuff years ago. So I got it, and then I've not picked it up because apparently it's meant to be like really, really sad, and I don't like being sad, so no. But I also have The Graveyard Book by Neil Gaiman, and I've never read a Neil Gaiman book before, and I believe this one is middle grade. Ooh, it has artwork in it. I did not know about the artwork. Like, it's very Tim Burton-esque artwork. I don't hate that. There is a possibility I may keep this, but I'm going to pop it in the unhaul pile for now if I change my mind. I don't know if I will, but we'll see. And then we have all of my Cassandra Clare books. So I have the Shadowhunter series, the first 6, and then I have the Infernal Devices as well. I have not read a single Cassandra Clare book ever, yet I have all of this. So I'm thinking, if I haven't got to it by now, I need to kind of not keep it on my shelves. Now, don't get me wrong, I love how it sits like this. I love that the first 6 books are the perfect length to fit across the top of all the other ones. Just that on my shelf aesthetically, big fan. Am I ever gonna actually get to it? I highly fucking doubt it. And I heard that there's like incest vibes in the first one. I don't want to put myself through that. That just does not sound like fun. The romance section is where it gets harder. The fantasy section, I've cleared out a fair bit. But the romance section is where I'm going to struggle, I'm not going to lie. I think from this shelf, I'm going to take Nora Goes Off Script and The Co-op. These two I bought reasonably recently, and I read them both, and I gave them like 2 stars. So they should have been in my book haul, but because I hated them, okay, hate's a bit strong, but because I didn't like them, they are going to be unhauled. I just did not care for them at all. Then we've got like my holiday Christmas collection. I've got 8 Perfect Hours, Wreck the Halls, and All I Want for Christmas. I know these two are very music based, and the main characters' names in this are Melody and Beat, and I feel like that is just a level of cringe that I just cannot fucking handle. And Tessa Bailey is just not hitting for me lately. I just don't think that these Christmas books are going to be the vibe. So all 3 of these Christmas books are probably going to go as well. I think the only one from this shelf that I'm actually going to unhaul is going to be We Are All Birds of Uganda. This is like a multi-generational story, and it just didn't do anything for me. I just didn't care. I definitely appreciate all the work that went into this and all the research, but it's just not the type of story that I enjoy. So I'm going to unhaul it and give it to someone else who's going to love it even more than me. And now we're back into the YA fantasy section. Oh my god, my kneecaps. I've got the first 3 books in the Beautiful series by Renee Ahdieh. So there's The Beautiful, The Damned, The Righteous. And these are, again, the Fairy Loot editions. And for some reason that purple lilac kind of colours faded again. But because I've only got the first 3 books and I've not got book 4 and I never ordered book 4, I'm just going to unhaul them because I've never even started them and I have no intention of doing so. So that can go. Then I've got Eve of Man and Evolution by Giovanna and Tom Fletcher, which is a husband and wife writing duo. I have no intention whatsoever of reading these. I think I even pre-ordered the last one, but I've never gravitated towards them, so they can go as well. Then we have Passenger and Wayfarer by Alexandra Bracken. Alexandra Bracken wrote Law, which I have already read, and I ended up giving it 3 stars, so I think that's part of the reason why I keep putting these series off. So I'm probably going to unhaul that too. Then we have Wicked Fox and Vicious Spirits, both by Kat Cho. I read Wicked Fox recently. It was okay. Not okay enough for me to bother picking up the second book, so that's out as well. The Bright and the Pale and Wrath and Mercy. Again, I have no intention of picking these up. They're just on my shelves to apparently take up space and look pretty. The Merciful Crow and The Faithless Hawk. Again, I'm not getting to them. Then we have Circle of Shadows and Cloak of Night by Evelyn Skye. Again, I have no intention of picking this up at any given point, so that is also out of the fucking window. Man, I need to dust my shelves. Then we have Incendiary and Illusionary by Zoraida Cordova. I've probably absolutely butchered that. But again, I've had no intention of gravitating towards them, so they can go as well. Now, that is all, as far as I'm aware, of my hardback fantasy young adult series that I am going to be unhauling. Now we're on to the paperback section. So I've got an arc of Wicked As You Wish by Rin Chapeko, which came in a Fairy Loot box. I've never read a Rin Chapeko book, and I have no intention of doing so, so that is out. Then I have the Shatter Me series down here. Now, I've read the first 3 books in the Shatter Me series, and the novella that goes in the middle of them. But the second half of the series, I don't know whether or not to keep or get rid of it, So if you've read it, let me know in the comments whether or not I should even bother with the second half of the series. I've heard that it kind of goes downhill, especially around Defy Me. So I'm going to pop it in my unhaul pile, but if you think that I should keep it and give it a go, then let me know. Okay, and we can stand. Oh my god. Oh, fucking hell, my ankles. Then we have all of these duologies. So I've got Flawed and Perfect by Celia Ahern. I really like Celia Ahern. I grew up reading a lot of her romance books, and this is like a dystopian kind of book. I have no intention of reading this. Then we have The Gilded Ones and The Merciless Ones by Nomina Fauna. I really like the covers, but I've never gravitated towards these. Same concept as The Flame in the Mist and The Smoke in the Sun, which I've just, again, never really gravitated towards. Also, this one is like shiny and this one is matte, which is kind of weird. And I don't know how I feel about it, but either way, I've never gravitated towards them, so I'm just going to get rid of them. Then we've got my young adult shelf, and I think, realistically, the only one from this shelf that I'm probably going to actually get rid of is going to be We Were Liars by E. Lockhart. I'm sure the twist in this is twisty. Like, from the very limited amount I know about this, it's just rich white people drama. I don't care for rich white people drama. I'm going to get rid of Autobiography, because I've had this for so bloody long, and I've never even thought about reading it. I've put it on a couple of TBRs, but like realistically, I'm just never going to read it. And then we have the Rachel Hawkins duology, Prince Charming and Her Royal Highness. And like, it was cute when I read it, but I'm never going to reread it. I don't think about it ever. In fact, I can't really remember all that much about it other than they were roommates, I think. I couldn't even tell you that much. So that can go. And I think I'm also going to unhaul Simon versus the Homo sapiens agenda. I think that if I want to consume this media, I'll just watch the movie. I think it's just not really for me. And then I've got two like paranormal sapphic romances. I've got The Coldest Touch by Isabel Sterling and Tanya Burns' Afterlove. I think this one's more zombie and this is vampire. But again, I've never thought about them. And they're just kind of like tucked away in the top corner of my shelf. So I don't really want to keep those either. And by the way, if you can hear my necklace next to the microphone, I'm really sorry. It's annoying me too. And for this last bookshelf at the top, I'm definitely going to need my step because I am a short ass. And it's double stacked as well, so I love that for me. The Marriage Game, The Dating Plan, and The Singles Table. These two I've read, this one I haven't. This is going to be the deciding factor. Like, The Dating Plan I want to keep regardless, but this one pissed me off. So if I like this one, then I'm going to keep the whole series. If I don't like this one, then I'm going to unhaul book 1 and book 3 and just keep book 2. But until I've read it, I'm going to keep all of them. Now, the reason that this was double stacked is because a lot of this I was strongly contemplating unhauling. So first of all, I'm going to pull off all the ones that I've read that I just didn't vibe with. So I've got This Spells Love by Kate Robb. I've got The Cheat Sheet by Sarah Adams. The Pick Me energy in this, I swear to God, made me want to punch a bitch. I've got Two Can Keep a Secret by Karen M. McManus. I just don't care for the young adult thriller kind of vibes. It just didn't do anything for me, so I love the colour palette here, but they're all gone. Then I've got a couple of series on here that I've kind of like started. I've read the middle book of this series, so it starts with The Friend Zone. I've read the Happy Ever After playlist, and quite frankly, I gave this like 1.5 or something. And then I've got Life's Too Short. Now, the only one in this series that I think I have any hope in enjoying is the last one, because this is like a friends to lovers. It deals a lot with like whether or not someone wants kids, and then they change their mind, and like infertility or something. Like, I don't know for certain, but I think it was like the infertility aspect of this was done so fucking poorly, and I have no intention of picking it up because it's going to piss me the fuck off. But I just don't think any in this series I'm going to enjoy. I think for me to give Ambi Jimenez a shot, I have to read the Part of Your World series, and I've got Part of Your World, it's over there. But I just don't think this is going to do anything, so that's out. And I do have some more Tessa Bailey stuff back here. I've read book 1 and book 3, and book 2 is Student Teacher, which just makes me feel really skeevy and uncomfy. So no to this series, and if I really want to read this one so desperately and badly, I've got it on my Kindle. I got these books here by Julie Chaplin, which I got as a gift from my friend, which are like around the world books. We've got this one, Croatia, Tokyo, and Ireland. I honestly just don't feel like these books are for me. I feel like these are more for like what my grandmother would have read. So I just don't end up gravitating towards them, so I'm probably just going to unhaul them. I always feel bad about unhauling gifts. Then I've got We Just Clicked by Annabelle, which I feel like is going to piss me off because it's very what other people think of me, what Instagram thinks of me, influencer heavy kind of book. I just think it's going to annoy me, and if I go into it with that mindset, then it's definitely going to do just that. I just have no intention of picking this one up, so I'm going to unhaul this too. Then there's You Again by Lauren Lane. This is like a big city, no strings attached commitment phobe kind of keep running into each other type of story from what I can gather from the synopsis. And it's short. I might keep it simply because it's short. You know what? No, we're going to be brutal. We're being ruthless. This is going to be one of the largest unhauls that I've ever done, especially considering I can see the piles of books around me. You can't see them, but it's scary. But we're nearly done. All of these Sylvia Day books. I feel like Sylvia Day was the author that we went to after reading the 50 Shades series. I have no intention of ever picking these ones up. I think they're historical romance, but I genuinely could not fucking tell you either way. So I'm probably going to unhaul these two. I just don't care enough about them to keep them. And then honestly, this is the last bit, and I think I'm going to unhaul probably all of them. So I've got The Dating Game by Sandy Barker. Again, I know nothing about it. I just don't gravitate towards it, so that's gone. Yeah, that's about how this day's going. Then I've got The Improbability of Love, which is one I bought secondhand, but I think it's more I want to keep this because of where I bought it. So I just have to go back to where I bought it and have another day out at like this book farm that is in the UK that maybe it's getting late in the year now, so probably next year I'll go to. But I got this there, and I thought like the vibes of the place were really cute, and I felt bad without buying a book, so I just got this one. But I don't actually care to read it, so I am just going to unhaul it. Then we've got This Is How You Fall in Love by Annika Hussain. This, I believe, is YA. I thought it was adult, and it's like a fake dating, trying to make another person jealous, love square sort of situation. So I don't give a fuck. So it's out. Speaking of Love Square, we have The Love Square by Jane Williams, which I don't really know what it's about, but it's like a love triangle, but there's 3 of them, but it's not a White Shoes romance. If it was White Shoes, I'd keep it, but it's not. I don't care. Bye. Then the last 2 I'm going to get rid of are You're the One That I Want by Giovanna Fletcher and Lyrebird by Celia Ahern. This is like a love triangle situation, and apparently I don't want love triangle situations, so apparently I'm just unhauling all of those. And then I've got Lyrebird, which I think is like a singer? I have no idea. This is meant to be like really emotional, and I do like Celia Ahern books, but I've had this for so long and I've just not picked it up. And I don't have any inclination to pick it up because I feel like this is a version of me that was like 10 years ago. I'm not this version anymore, so this is also going to be unhauled. And look how barren my shelves look. I have like so much like empty space everywhere. I'm going to have so much fun reorganizing all of this in a minute. Let's be honest, for a book unhaul, this is kind of insane. Like, I was feeling particularly savage today, evidently. So if you managed to get this far into the video and there's a book that you think should be saved from these stacks, then let me know in the comments down below, along with the bird emoji, because the majority of these, probably all of these, are going to be flying away from my house. But for now, thank you so much for stopping by. It has been lovely having you here, and I hope to see you in another video coming very soon. Bye.